Welcome back to this World of Warcraft Let's Play. You're Sambo and Seraphis, our Worgen Mage, and joining us tonight is Frosty. Hello, Frosty. That's right, what else have you got to say? I see. Folks, in case you're wondering, Frosty comes with the Collector's Edition of Wrath of the Lich King, which is the expansion before this one, which is called Cataclysm. And every collector's edition comes with a pet. The Cataclysm came with a little Deathwing. We got Frosty out at the moment just to keep us company. And if you were with us in our last episode, you will remember that we were taking a look at a couple of the professions, namely cooking and first aid. We went through the recipe book and how the recipes eventually fade off in terms of giving us skill ups. We cooked a few things and we made ourselves some spiced bread, and we went through what have we got? The spiced wolf meat and the Kaldori spider kebab, a couple of cooked items which hopefully we'll get to make later on, which actually give us stat benefits buffs. Very cool. But of course we did pick up a quest. Where is it? Here we go. Kill or be killed. Speak to Prince Liam Greymane outside of Duskhaven. Now, this is a quest which is probably going to introduce the Forsaken invasion, and I dare say... Actually, let's get rid of Frosty because he's in the way. See you later, Frosty. Yeah, there we go. So you can see out the front here we have been invaded. So there was some phasing that took place. So Duskhaven is being invaded. There were the two Forsaken ships off in the background. They've obviously landed a raiding party of some sort, and they're attacking. Notice that they're all red, by the way. Their names are red. They're level 5, so they shouldn't be too much trouble for us. We're level 6. But that is a Forsaken invasion force, and if we were to get near that guy, he would attack us because he's red. He will, if we enter his aggro radius, he'll definitely attack us, so we want to be just a little bit careful, I guess. Now, by the way, the Forsaken are skeletons. Let's see if we can get up close to one. Yeah, maybe these ones because they're already engaged with one of our local watchmen. There you go, you can see that they're kind of undead zombie-looking things. There we go. Close-up look. They're ugly sons of a gun. And by the way, you can play as an undead player. There are two major factions in the game. There's the Horde and there's the Alliance, for those who don't know. You're best to probably look up a WoW wiki and read all about it because it's got a very long, deep history going all the way back through the Warcraft games, the role-playing, rather the real-time strategy games, Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 1, Orcs and Humans, all of those games. This is what the lore in this game is built on, all those old games. If you really want to find out about the Forsaken, go read it up. But the Horde and Alliance, you can kind of call them the good guys and the bad guys, although the Horde aren't really bad guys, they're just sort of a different faction. I do like playing Horde, but we're on the Alliance side of things, being a Worgen. So a very humanoid-based faction, although we do have our own creatures. These guys are from a sort of... Oh, it's hard to describe. The Forsaken are part of the Horde, kind of. It's very complicated. Probably better that you go read it up. I'll see if I can pop a link in the comment box below. But for the meantime, on our Alliance Worgen here, we are definitely being invaded by them, and we've got to do something about it. So let's chat to the son of the king here. I failed to defend my people in Gilneas City. It seems fates have given me a second chance, Seraphis. I will not fall again. Here we go.
For my people.
So we've got a couple of quests here. Hold the line. We're going to kill a great many of these motherless Forsaken. Kill 10 Forsaken invaders, and we finally get some cloth braces there. Braces are your wrist piece, by the way. If we have a look at our character sheet here, our paper doll, if you like. Oh, now why is my little person so small? Oh, because we can zoom in and out. I forgot about that. There we go. Hello. It's actually a new feature in the paper doll, by the way. But you can see we've got a lot of slots here that we're not using. One of them down the bottom here is wrist. So we will equip braces there. In fact, we should be able to pop them on the dressing room. Yeah, you can't see them under my dress, but there you go. We have to kill 10 Forsaken invaders. And you can't take it alone. The big fat ones, abominations, they're called, don't go down so easy, so don't tackle them on your own. Now, I did notice a couple of abominations out there. I'll show you them in a minute. I've got an idea so crazy it might just work, or it might get you killed if we're not careful. Oh, thanks very much. These barrels of gunpowder beneath the sheds and by the windmills, grab them and toss them right at the abominations' heads. I'll take care of the rest with this trusty old blunderbuss. So, we have to use 4 black gunpowder kegs to blow up 4 horrid abominations. And that's good because, by the way, if I click on one way out in the distance there, I know you probably won't be able to see it, but you can see its portrait up here. You can see it's got a gold decoration around its portrait. What that means is it's an elite mob. And if I hover over the portrait or over the mob, you'll see the tooltip there, Horrid Abomination, level 5 undead, and in brackets are the words elite. And you can tell, if I click on one of these Forsaken Invaders that are nearby here, they're non-elite, they have a normal portrait. You can see their health is about 102 hit points. If I click on an Abomination, it's 510 hit points. Now, I'm not going to do very well against that on my own. That's why we've got a quest here to get the gunpowder and use them, because I certainly wouldn't be able to kill one on my own. And by the way, abominations you'll see a lot throughout WoW. They're basically like Frankenstein sort of big blubbery mobs that are stitched together with old corpses, and they've got limbs sticking out and guts hanging out and all sorts of things. Very funny. Anyway, we'll get some bread or water and we'll get a bottle of Pinot Noir. Now, this is interesting. We get a lot of people say, what is the point of these? Because when you hover over it here, it says use a fairly weak alcoholic beverage. It has absolutely no purpose. It doesn't give you any stats. It doesn't heal you. It doesn't rest you. What it does is it makes you drunk. Yes, you can get drunk in WoW, folks, and it's quite funny getting drunk because your screen goes all blurry and you get all wobbly and you can't run straight and all sorts of things. So good for role playing, good for having a bit of a laugh if a bunch of you are drunk. And of course, you don't have to suffer a hangover as you do in real life. So here we go, up on the tracker now. You'll see if I can get it into open space somehow. There we go. Up here, we've got 2 objectives, and you can see that there's a counter in there. Hold the line, 0 of 10, Forsaken Invader slain. We can click on the button, that will bring up our little map. And if I expand that and make it bigger, you'll see that there's a area here that shows us exactly where we need to go, whereabouts we can find the mobs, and we can select the quests here as well, and it shows us down the bottom the actual quest flavor text and the reward. So it's quite a cool little map, and we can see 0 of 4 gunpowder thrown at the abomination. So we never actually have to go into the quest log to see the count here. We can always check it just on the tracker. And once again, reminding you that you can actually click on the name of the quest if you really do want to bring up the quest log itself. And where is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, of course, don't forget you can minimize the tracker with this little button. There we go, if you want to get it out of your view or if you've got a smaller window. Alright, so let's go out. These guys seem to be occupied, but we'll help this one out here. Now, by the way, this Fire Blast here, remembering I talked about it earlier, it's a new ability that we've got. It's an instant cast, and I'll prove that in a minute because it means that we can actually cast it while we run, which is very cool. But it's got a 30-yard range, so even though it's instant, and most instant abilities mean you have to be right up close in melee range, this one we don't have to be, but it does do a big blast of fire on the enemy. Now, for example, if I use my casted ability here, which is our Fireball, watch what happens if I try and use it while I'm running. Nothing. Says you can't do that while moving. Not only that, if I interrupt this halfway through by moving, watch what happens. There we go, it stops casting. So that's, by the way, how you stop casting if you accidentally start casting. So I can't do that, but if I was to move and use the Fire Blast, I'd be able to still do it while I'm running. So let's open up with a Fireball, and then I'll run and use the Fire Blast, and there it goes, boom. So I was able to do that while I was moving, so it's handy to have both types. And there we go, we've killed our first invader. You can see up the top here, 1 of 10, and it even says that in the quest tracker here as well. Just hit tab to choose the next target. We'll send out another Fireball, follow it up with a Fire Blast, and then some Arcane Missiles because they're ready. And that cleaned up that guy very fast. Once again, I've got auto loot on, so I don't have to actually loot, click on the items. Let's use our Arcane Missiles. And we'll use a Fire Blast. Oh, we didn't even have to. Fire Blast is quite good to leave till the very end of a fight too, just to finish them off. So you can see, even though our last few episodes we've been a bit slow on the action front, we've been doing a lot of talking. Now, once we get into combat, it all gets very hectic. WoW can be a very fast-paced game. Now, also another thing to note is that if I draw aggro, I'll show you what happens to the portraits, because you can tell if you've got aggro or not by looking at the portrait of a mob. So let's have a look. Let's target one of these off in the distance here. There we go, that one's targeted. Notice the portrait, I'll put it out into the open sky there. It's just looking normal. Watch what happens if I put a Fire Blast spell on it. What you'll notice is there'll be a bit of a sort of drum sound, there'll be a boom sound. No, I'm not going to do that again, which indicates that the mob has aggroed onto you, that you're the top of the aggro table. Now this is really important when you're running in dungeons and running with a group, because if you, especially being a mage, you've got high DPS, if you pull the mob off a tank, that's a really bad thing. They're going to come and hit you and you're not going to survive. You have to really manage your DPS. So this is a great tool for managing DPS and knowing if you really need to lay back. So keep an ear out once we dot this mob up, and watch the portrait. You should see it start glowing red. So here we go. Right, it was probably overshadowed by the other sounds, but there was a noise in there that meant we got aggro. And once again, we'll do it again. Watch what happens to the portrait. See, it's yellow at the moment. Now that means that they're half aggroed on us. They're not. And now, there we go. Did you hear that boom? And the portrait turned red. That meant, okay, that was very interesting actually. What it meant was that the mob was still actually aggroed onto this guy, this Watchhaven. He was holding aggro by doing enough damage. And that's when the portrait of the enemy turned yellow. But then, once we hit it again, it went boom, and that portrait turned red, meaning that the aggro was on us. Alright, so what we're going to have to do is clear. I can see a barrel off in the distance there. So we're going to have to clear the way there. We'll finish off with a Fire Blast. There they go. So you can see the action is right up there. Once you start getting into the fight proper, yes, we're a casting mage with slow casting spells, but it becomes very fast paced, very frenetic rather. What frenetic? There's no such word as frenetic. Sambo, good lord. Cast off a fireball, of course. Also making sure we're keeping an eye on our health, because when we get hit really hard. So we want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on that, so we can use our bread or our water if we run out of mana. Now there's a barrel up there. Now you can see if I hover over that, it actually says Black Gunpowder Keg. You can't take them alone is the name of the quest, so it tells you what quest it's for. It's very handy, and if that was a mob, in fact, here we go. If I hover over the mob, you can see it's got the quest name there, Hold the Line, so we know that those mobs are needed in that quest. And it actually says Forsaken Invader slain 10 out of 10, so I know I don't actually need to kill any more in order to fulfill the requirements of the quest, but of course I do want to kill them because it's XP, and I want to clear a way to this barrel that we're going to have to use. So let's target one there, send out a fireball first, then we'll do the fire dot. Our arcane missiles didn't proc, so there we go, now they have, so we can use them for the next mob, which is near the barrel there. So we'll open with those. There they go, big bursts of arcane missiles. We'll follow that up with a fire blast. And then hopefully before he has time to do too much damage, yes, we can get our cast off. Now we can run in and grab the barrel. We'll retrieve that. There we go, and you can hear it go clunk. It is now in our bags, if you're wondering where it goes. Let's just kill someone while we've got the arcane missiles up. Because it's all good XP. You can see there, XP 44. Oh, and that was an extra special good kill, because it's automatically placed it. We actually got a small blue pouch drop then. So that's another 6-slot bag that we got for free instead of having to buy one from the general goods vendor. So now we have 3 bags. You can see them down the bottom here. I've also enabled one of the options in the UI options that allow, oops, we enter in combat. One of the mobs aggroed on us as they ran past. It's actually displaying the number 22 there. What that is how many free slots are in my bag. A really handy little indicator to have there. I always have that turned on. Let's use up this arcane missile, seeing it's open. You can hear that boom there as the aggro went onto us. Anyway, where were we? We were talking about the kegs. You can see here we've picked up a black gunpowder keg. Hopefully we can pick up another one and store them up. There you go, you heard it drop in our bags, and you can see that this has a number letter 2 on it now, indicating that there's 2 of them in our bags. Use. It's got the use ability. Toss the gunpowder keg on top of the horrid abominations. Got a 20-yard range. Now, fortunately, we don't have to go into our bags to do that. We could target an abomination if we were in rage and right-click on it to use it. But fortunately, let's have a look if we can get some clear space. Here we go. look in the quest tracker up the top here, and you can see that it's automatically put a little button there for the gunpowder keg. It knows that we have to use it for a quest, it knows that they're in our bags, and therefore we can just click on that without having to go into our bags to use it. Now the other thing is, as you can see, I've selected that abomination off in the distance. You may not be able to see it on the YouTube video, but there's a red dot over this gunpowder keg icon here, and that just is a visual, nice little visual, simple visual indicator telling us that we're actually out of range. So if I did try and click on it,
I'm out of range.
There you go, she said it herself, we're out of range. So let's get a bit closer, we'll clean up this mob that's in between us and the abomination. So fireball, a fire blast, and then a barrage of arcane missiles. Certainly cleaned them up very quick. Now I'm going to select this target again and just keep an eye on this keg, this barrel, and there we go. Once it turns grey, that means I know I'm close enough. I don't want to get too close to these guys. You can see they're an awful looking thing. They're quite big. They make a big thumping sound as they walk around. I just want to get close enough to be in range. We're going to use this. Toss the barrel. Uh-oh, this gonna hurts me.
Gonna hurts me.
Boom! And that was gross. It exploded into a bunch of, well, looked like pork chops and meat. So the gunpowder barrel got stuck on his head and it blew him up. Dear oh dear. Alright, let's take care of this Forsaken invader over here. There we go. Nice and easy peasy. Got another barrel over here. We've got 3 more to get. It says 1 of 4. And you can see a battle raging out in the distance there. They've got, I can't remember what they're called, but these like catapults that hurl flaming rocks at our village. That's no good. So no doubt we'll end up out there later on as the fight carries on. Here's a abomination waiting again for that red dot to go away till we're in range. Toss the barrel. You look at it, you can see its guts hanging out. It's got an appendage, an arm hanging out the back, and boom, away it goes. Made short, sharp work of that.
I need a target.
I need a target, she says. That's right, no need to be grumpy about it, woman. Okay, so we need 2 more. I've got 3 barrels, just in case, you never know. Arcane missiles are propped again by that big symbol that appears, or the effect that appears around our character. Getting in range, there we go, toss the barrel. Now we can get up close and have a good look at these disgusting creatures with their arm hanging off the back, and hopefully, boom, boom, chunks going everywhere. Let's get ourselves some more XP. There we go. Now, interestingly enough, you'll notice too down the bottom that my XP bar has gone poo. Where did that come from? Do you know, I actually do know where that came from. I was looking at it thinking purple. I was reading the tooltip, it was saying blue. My apologies, folks. There we go, there's a new colour for the day. A non-rested XP bar is the colour poo. I'm very sorry about that. It's gone purple. What that means that purple is normal XP. So I've used up my rested XP that I gained by logging out in the inn overnight, and now that it's not blue anymore and I don't have a little pip along here, that indicates to me that I'm actually gaining only 100% of normal XP. And on the tooltip there, you may not be able to read it, but it actually says there normal, 100% of normal XP gained from monsters. It also gives you a percentage, so I can tell that I'm 58% of the way through a level, what are we? F1, by the way, selects yourself if you ever want to know. And if you're in a group, F1 is you, F2, F3, F4, and F5 selects the subsequent party members in your 5-man party. But F1 is us, and we're level 6, so we're 58% of the way through a level 6. But you can just tell whether you're rested or not by looking at that colour.
For my people.
Okay, let's hold the line, hand this one in, and we get ourselves a pair of braces that are much needed. And a lot of rep there for Gilneas as well. Let's open up our bags, put the braces on by right-clicking on them. That's going to give us an extra 9 armor. And remembering too, folks, if you do have an outfit set, you can save it, say yes, and that's going to add automatically those braces to our equipment set. We need 1 more bloomin' barrel. I forgot. Whoops. So let's clear out these 3 mobs here and get ourselves... Oh no, wait a minute. I've already got barrels, haven't I? I think I've got some spare. Yeah, we've got 2 spare in our bags there. So we just need to find ourselves an abomination. Where is one that's relatively alone? Maybe over here. Just be on the lookout in case we do pull the attention of any of these wandering mobs. There we go, we're in range.
I got bad feeling.
Yep, you're going to get blown up. And now I think it's time for the epic dance. Of course, everyone in WoW dances. Let's have a look at their Worgen dance, see what it looks like. Oh, what happened then? Don't know why I stopped. It should dance on and on. Let's try that again. For those of you wondering what's the Worgen dance like, there it is. And some of you may recognize it as well. All the dances in WoW are basically modeled after some kind of real life event or counterpart or personality. See if you can guess who that was. 10 internet points for anyone who gets it. Alright, so racing back now out in the gloomy fields of this battle, back to Prince Liam Greymane, who's going to give us some, well actually this is a quest where we have to choose our reward. Now by the way, as you know, I can make spiced bread, so I don't want that, but I do want refreshing spring water because I don't have any mana regen stuff on me, so we'll take that, and we get our bottle of Pinot Noir, which will make us drunk. And you can see here now that my little icon on my hotbar, which I already had 1 refreshing spring water, it now reads 6, which is very handy. Alright, he's saying they can take it from here, so it looks like we've cleaned up enough for them. Check in with Mayor Armstead. These are only a small part of the Forsaken forces. If we don't move quickly, we're going to have a bigger problem on our hands. See what you can do to engage the Forsaken army at their landing location. Go see Gwen. Alright, that's very interesting. So we may have to head down south here, because of course they landed on the shores down here. We may have to go down there and sort them out right up front on the waterfront. Who knows? Anyway, let's go back to the mayor, and of course whenever we get near any vendors and stuff, we want to check our bags, although we don't have anything to sell.
What can I do for you?
I've sent the remaining militia to the shore to meet the Forsaken force head on. Interesting. Lord Godfrey, you might remember him from our intro, is leading the attack near the Forsaken landing area. See what you can do to help us keep the Forsaken back. I've been told Godfrey has commandeered the Storm Cellar in the Allen farmstead far to the west. Seek him out there. Alright, so we have to go find our way to the Allen farmstead and find Lord Godfrey in the cellar. By the way, just one more thing on the quest log, both when you're accepting them and reading them afterwards. Not only does it tell you what item rewards you're going to get and how much money you'll get, in this case a pittance, 65 copper, it also tells you how much XP you're going to get, which is interesting to know because you can see here, if we hover over this, we've got 3369 out of 3600, so we need 230 odd XP to level up. This quest is going to give us 270, so we know automatically that we're going to ding when we hand in this quest, which is a bit of a poop actually, because you can see it's actually far off to the west there. We're going to have to come back as soon as we ding, basically, to get our new skill. We're going to be able to learn the Firebolt. Now what I am going to do is come to the bank, and I'm going to put our bottle of Pinot Noir in the bank and save that for a rainy, wintry day when we need alcohol. Alright, I think we've got enough time to race our way over to this new quest and find Lord Godfrey. Now we want to avoid these horrible abominations because they'll probably kill us. So here we go, really are going to travel out into the big wide world. What's down there that I saw? No, nothing. Now, and once again, I really like this zone. I love the feel of it. And by the way, it does change. There's multiple themes all throughout this zone. It's very, very, very large, and it doesn't all look like this, by the way. In fact, this place won't look like this very soon. Hello, sheeps. Alright, so you can see here, looks like we need to go down inside this cellar. There's some horsies. By the way, let's go have a look at the horses because later on, once we get to level, well, it used to be level 40, I can't remember what it is now, I think it's 20 now, is it? I think so. You will, well, we will get to ride one of these if we so wish. Of course, we are a Worgen, so we do have our racial mount, which is just dropping on all fours. But of course, if you're a human, this will be your first mount, and it's optional for us as well. And they do come in a range of different colours. Always used to be a big thing in WoW when you got your first mount, because you have to run around the place so much. We used to have to wait till level 40, and boy was it awesome when you got your very first horse. Okay, here they are, holed up down in the cellar. Let's see what Godfrey has to say. And there we go. We ding! We are now level 7, and it says there in the quest, in the chat log, you have a new ability available, Frostbolt, and you can click on that to get the details of it. Let's take these quests here, but we will run back and grab our ability before we wrap up this episode, before we go any further, because we do want it. What's he saying? I'm not going to lie, I don't like the idea of having Worgen among our ranks. Well, excuse me. Who knows how long until Krennan's concoction wears off and you're trying to chomp one of our heads off. Well, that is a good point, I suppose. Until that time, however, we can make ample use of your ferocity. I want you to go out to the battlefield and kill as many of those Forsaken as you can. What is it? Kill 8 Forsaken foot soldiers or sailors, and we're going to get ourselves a choice between either a dagger, which is really no use to us, even though we can use them at this stage of the game anyway. Later on, we use them as a stat stick, and some new leggings as well. Now, by the way, you'll notice there's a really neat feature on the tooltip. Now, it may have text that's too small to see on the YouTube video, but if I hover over these leggings, and of course we can control click on them and have it, we can't look at them because they're under our dress. But if I hover over them, it actually saves me the worry of having to work out whether they're better than what I've got or not by looking through all the stats. It will actually say down the bottom there in yellow, if you replace this item, the following stat changes will occur. And it says there plus 10 armor. So again, where there's multiple stats on a item, that you don't want to have to go through and like calculate all of them. It'll actually list all of them, in this case only one, and tell you which ones go up and which ones go down. So at a very quick glance, you can tell whether it's more beneficial or not to wear the new item that you've got. So very handy. Let's accept that quest. We'll take another one called 2 by the Sea. I've got a plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone because they've got catapults out there. Take out the machinists that are manning the catapults, and after this, use the catapults to launch yourself aboard the Forsaken ships. Oh, now that sounds like a lot of fun. So as long as our aim isn't terrible, that's going to be fun. Yeah, we're going to launch ourselves onto a ship. You should be able to land safely on the ship. Once on board, go below decks and take care of each ship's captain. Very cool. And we get some flying Worgen robes. And there we go. The stat change there is plus 11, and the flavor text on it is called Wee. I love all the little jokes that they have in the game. If I'm going to play a game, let's make it fun. Don't make it too serious. And you can see there we get some new robes, which of course are a lot different to the ones we've got on now in terms of the color, etc. So let's accept that quest. And you can see that it's probably down by the waterfront. Yeah, there we go. So here's our 8 Forsaken combatants slain, and right down on the water's edge there by the landing, we've got where we need to fling ourselves onto the ships where they're parked up on the landing. So that's going to be lots of fun. And what's she got to say for herself? Forsaken, they have no regard for innocent life. They're the military will not allow me outside, but my children are still in my farm. You must go find them. Their names are Cynthia, Ashley, and James. If you find them, bring them back here, and I'll be forever in your debt. So it looks like we've got to rescue a couple of kids, and unfortunately the rewards there are no good for us, but of course we can sell them.
Keep your chin up, eh?
And let's have a look and see where they are. There we go, save the children, and it's got the counter of each one rescued. That looks like it's nearby. So maybe we'll just quickly do one of them while we're near. Let's see if we can save the children. Where is it pointing us? It's pointing us kind of south. So maybe it's around here. Oh, I can see one already. In the garden, in the veggie patch here. Now, also remembering too, folks, kill any critters that you find. Kill a roach, because if we go to our achievements, just reminding you of this because you'll kick yourself if you don't start it early. Hit Y to bring up your achievements. We've got General, and there should be an achievement called Pest Control. There you go. And you can see now it's got Roach ticked off on it. Rat is also ticked off. So make sure you do kill any little nasties that you find. There we go. There's James. Hello, James. Your mother is in the basement next door. Get to her now. And he's just saying he was looking for his sister. So it's automatically rescued. He's going to run back to the basement, and that's counted off. And it's removed it from our tracker there, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. But for us, what we're going to do... Oh, you can see the catapults flinging... Whoa! 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 Want to get out of the way. Now is a good opportunity. Oh, you can see the Forsaken ships in the background. I love the design of them, by the way. I love the whole Forsaken colour scheme. It's all purple and dark tones, really cool. And I notice over there is Cynthia, and again when I hover over her it does say the quest name, Save the Children, so we know it's for that quest. Let's just rescue her while she's there. Oh, and there's something else that's come up too. We'll cover this off in the next episode probably, but you probably can't see it, but on my mini-map is a little yellow dot, and if I hover over it, it says copper vein. Now that's because I've got find minerals on. And you may remember that was because we've taken up mining as a profession, and basically now I've got a tracker which shows me where there are nodes that I can mine. So straight ahead of us is one. We might go and do that quickly before we end this quest, rather this episode. You'll also see as I hover over that forsaken foot soldier, it shows up saying it's wanted for a quest called Unleash the Beast, 0 of 8. So let's just quickly kill them. I know I want to go back and get my other ability, but we will do that before the end of the episode. But I just want to take care of this mining node while it's here, because they are dynamic, they do disappear. Someone else might get it. So let's hop up. Now another thing I've noticed while we're here is this bush. You might notice that it glows, and a little icon comes over it, like a little bundle of herbs. It says there its name is Silverleaf and it requires herbalism. That would be something that I would gather if I'd taken herbalism, and of course you use herbs in this game for alchemy amongst other things. But here's what a mining node looks like. So in this case it's a copper vein, and you can see it sparkles, so you can't miss it. When you hover over it, it's got a mining pick icon. As long as we have our mining pick in the bag, all we need to do is right click on it. You can hear it going there and automatically loot it, and we do get XP. This is a big change in the game. By the way, you can see the mining node disappears. We do get XP for our gathering profession, so that's another reason why it's really important that you take the gathering professions, because they do give you that additional XP. Very handy. And if we look in our bags now, I'm going to drag them out to a separate bag. We've now got some materials that have come out of that node, and we've got copper ore, and they are directly what's used for mining. If we go into our smelting ability here we go, we can see that we can smelt copper, and it requires copper ore. We actually picked up 3 of them from that node, so we can actually make, as it says next to it there, 3 copper ore as long as we're near a forge. Now we will obviously do that because we want to make copper bars, not only because we can sell them on the auction house for lots of money, but also some of the recipes later on use them. And of course they're used by armor smiths and weaponsmiths and engineers, jewel crafters, even leather workers, believe it or not, and blacksmithing. They all use that copper bar. It's a great trading and profession system in the game. Everything you make can be used by other players, once again boosting the economy of your server. We also got another piece of, well, it's not really a piece of junk. We got some rough stone. A lot of recipes use rough stone, especially jewel crafting and engineering, so they don't go to waste. It just that happens to be that we can't. If I look at our, whoops, I don't want to make a campfire. Silly you, Sambo. If we go to smelting, nothing we have at the moment actually uses rough stone, but like I say, other professions do, so you don't want to throw them away. Alright, rather than walk all the way back, because we want to head back to our trainer, before we wrap up this episode. If we look at the map, it's a fair distance to run back. Rather than doing that, I'm going to show you how the Hearthstone works. And you'll remember we talked to the innkeeper, and we set our home at the inn. That's where our Hearthstone is. Reminding yourselves, of course, that it's got a 30-minute cooldown, so don't use it willy-nilly. But if we click on this, it will actually teleport us back to that inn from wherever we are in the world. So it's a really handy item. We'll click on it. There we go, casting the Hearthstone. It's got a 10-second cast, so you've got to be a bit careful where you use it. Make sure you don't get into combat, because you will break that. There we go, and boom! Takes us straight back to the innkeeper. Very handy. So the first thing we want to do before we wrap up this episode, of course, is go to our Mage trainer and learn our new skill, which I believe is going to be Frostbolt.
What's your story?
There we go, Frostbolt. It causes frost damage at long range, so it's another long cast like our Fireball. A 1.66 second cast, slightly less than our 1.81 cast on the Fireball, but it also slows the enemies, and that's a really important ability for a mage to have, because of course it means that from 35 yards out, this has got a 35 yard range, whereas the Fireball's got 40, but from 35 yards out we can cast this, and it slows the enemies, so if they run towards us they're going to be running at about half the speed they normally would, which gives us time to cast off a Fireball in the meantime. So let's train that. There we go, and you can see it dropping down there. It's dropped down to the hotbar. I'm actually going to, to the skill bar rather, I'm going to actually put that first in line because I'm going to use that as an opener because it does that slowing effect. You can see our next ability will be at level 8, which is only 1 level away, a Frost Nova, and that's a really important routing tool, and we'll get into that later on as we level up. Alright, so I think that's about it for us. We could make some copper bars. I want to, where is a forge? Actually, yep, there we go. You'll see an icon on your mini-map if you've got them selected in the filter. It looks like an anvil, and there we go. You can see I'm hovering over that. That there glows and it comes up with a tooltip. That is a forge, so we need to be here if we're going to make the copper bars. But we'll do that in the next episode. Let's wrap this up because we've gone way over time. Get ourselves to an inn. Don't forget that, folks. You need to log out in an inn. Oh, yeah, we can jump over there so that we get our rested XP. Very, very important that. All right, so that's it. I certainly hope that you enjoyed that episode. We covered off quite a number of things. I certainly hope, of course, that you'll join us in the next episode, which will be tomorrow. We're doing these daily at the moment while DC Universe is offline. Not sure what will happen once DCU comes back online. Who knows? Anyway, in the meantime, I hope you're having a great day. And until next time, we'll see you then. This is Sambo and Seraphis saying bye-bye.